Good day. I'm Michael Hodges. I'm with FPM Properties, and it's that time of year again when the County Property Appraisers is sending out your proposed property tax bill for the upcoming year. Here in Duval County, Jerry Holland is our property appraiser. So he comes out with not only your proposed bill, but also goes through what the various definitions are of different parts of your proposed property taxes. So I have a first home buyer here, and she's going to ask a series of questions, and hopefully this will help out that any questions that may arise on your property tax bill.
Thank you, Michael. My first question is, if I rent my property, am I eligible for homestead exempt if I'm military?
If you're active military, you certainly are still, and you use this home, even though you're renting it out as your primary residence, and that's going to be your permanent address, then yes, you would be eligible to still keep homestead exemption. So buying the home and then you having to transfer out does not necessarily mean that you lose your homestead exemption.
Thank you. What about my husband and I were wondering if and when we're a new homeowner and we occupy the home on January 1st, can we file application by March 1st of the same year to qualify for homestead exempt?
Yes, so when you purchase a home, there is a timeline as to when you need to apply for your homestead exemption. And that is going to be by March 31st of the year. So if you bought a home, we'll say in December, you're living in the home in January, you just need to make sure that you file your homestead exemption by March 31st of that year so that you'll get that $25,000 reduction. And also the Save Your Homes reduction also coming after that.
Okay, thank you very much. We're also trying to crunch some numbers together, and we've had some conflict with just value versus assessed value, and just wondering if you could clarify that information for us.
Just value is really what the fair market value is. So it's really when you see that on your proposed property tax bill, that's the amount that somebody would pay for your home, right? But that doesn't necessarily mean that's what you're going to be taxed on. So if your millage rate is 2.1, which is basically 2.1% of the taxable assessed value, that's not necessarily your just value. The just value would be market value. So we'll give you a quick example. So we'll say that the market value is $100,000, right? We'll say it's 150, make it easier. So we'll say the just market value is 150, but the assessed value is only going to be is 100,000 based on the previous year. What it gets into for your assessed value is what we call Save Your Home. So when you the Save Our Homes thing is 3% when you're living in the home. So that would mean even though the home is valued, we'll say at a just value market value of 150, the previous just value market previous year was 100. This year coming up, it could only be 103,000, which would be 3%, because your basically your property taxes are capped at 3%. That also goes into play for investment property, by the way. So if you're buying an investment property, you're not living in it, you're still going to be your assessed value is capped at 10% each year. So it can't go above 110,000 in this particular case.
Okay, thank you very much. Is there a particular professional that you think we should reach out to make sure?
So whenever you're looking at taxes and any of those things that affect things, you should always go to a tax advisor, a CPA that specializes in that, or even a tax attorney. Any of those would be your best sources, probably, because we're not the professionals when it comes to the actual how you crunch a number and all that for your taxes and all that, and what's going to be the proper thing. So when you're looking at that, make sure that you go to a tax advisor or tax attorney or CPA. One thing I will tell you, in this market, your market values are up, and they're going to remain up. Now that may change in 2021 or 2022 depending on what the foreclosure market's going to be. But one thing that you need to be looking at, especially if you're thinking about investment, is you want to basically say, okay, what's going on in the submarkets? The big cities people are fleeing from, but Jacksonville is kind of a submarket. So people, what's the cost of living? Cost of living is cheap in Jacksonville. What's the property taxes? Property taxes are low in Jacksonville. So this is going to be a good area possibly to buy investment property. So contact us at fpmproperties.com or give us a call at 904-497-4200. We'll help you out. Thanks for listening.
Thank you very much, Mr. Hodges. We look forward to purchasing a property through FPM Properties and Team.